See, like most guys, I've noticed that women have no principles and no loyalty whatsoever. Oh yeah, they do not. Especially the younger ones, right? When they're young, no loyalty, no principles. I mean, they might claim to believe one thing or the other, but it's just bullshit, right? And if something better comes along, they'll abandon their principles, they'll abandon their friends, just like that. Hell yeah. And we've seen it so many times that for women to deny it is just ridiculous at this point, you know, because it's true. Now, a lot of guys are incredibly upset about this truism. The truism being that women have no principles and no loyalty. They are upset about it and they get pissed off. They get pissed off at women. They feel that they have been taken advantage of. They feel angry about it. And yet in my own case, I've never ever felt angry about this lack of loyalty or lack of loyalty to principles. No, because I understand women. And you know how I understood women, where it came from? From two things. Learning about the history of the Mongol Empire and the Nature Channel. Let me explain. See, years ago, years and years ago, I don't remember when, but I was watching the Nature Channel, right? It must have been when I was like in my 20s or something like that, right? And they were showing lions. And they were showing these lions and how, you know, there was the one lion, male lion, and, you know, a bunch of female lions and a bunch of cubs, right? And what happened was that an alpha lion, an up-and-coming alpha lion, came up and fought the alpha lion of this particular pride and defeated him. And so the new lion was in charge of the pride, right? And what he did is he proceeded to murder all of the cubs of the pride, right? He murdered them all because, of course, he didn't want to be raising some other lion's cubs, right? So he murdered all of the cubs that couldn't run away or defend themselves, right? And what happened with the female lions of the pride? Did they object? No, they didn't object. What did they do? They went into heat. They wanted to fuck the new lion, right? Which I thought was just like bizarre, you know? Bizarre until I realized that I was looking at it through a male morality. I was thinking to myself, you know, these female lions, man, how despicable, you know? This new lion comes along, kills their cubs. And what do the female lions do? Do they attack this new lion? No, they basically spread their legs for this lion. What the fuck? And then I thought about the Mongol Empire. And because back in the day, when Genghis Khan, Chinggis Khan, right? When he wasn't Khan yet, he was just another, you know, guy out there in the Mongol steppes, right? His wife was kidnapped. And his wife was kidnapped, and potentially she was, well, actually no, it wasn't potentially. She was in fact raped by the people who kidnapped her. And in point of fact, it's not that she was simply raped by them, but, you know, she copulated with them multiple times. And the fact of the matter is that, you know, Genghis Khan went and rescued her and brought her back, and shortly thereafter she gave birth to a child. The point is, see, that Genghis Khan's wife, you know, she fucked some other guys, right? Because she had to. Because what was she going to do? Because she had been captured, and if she didn't just simply have sex with them, they were just going to continue to rape her violently. And so, you know, she made peace with the situation. Of course, that's not what the history books say, but you can read between the lines. I mean, we're all adults. We all recognize the situation, what happened. She made peace with the situation, and then when Genghis Khan rescued her, she went back to him, right? And that's what happened. Now you look at prehistory in the literal sense, in the sense of like history before it was written down, and we see archaeological evidence of raids on this camp by this other camp, right? And these raids, what would they do? They would usually kill the men and the boys and steal the women and the girls, right? And they would presumably rape them, but eventually, you know, it wasn't just a thing of like violently raping them. These women would just have to make peace with the situation, right? Because this is how it is. This is how human beings were. And it's an ugly truth, but it is the truth, right? These women, these girls, They would be kidnapped by some competing party, some competing tribe or what have you. They would perhaps initially be raped, or perhaps the women would just reconcile themselves to the reality of the situation that they'd been captured, and now they would be the women of this other tribe. And so they would make do with what they had. And this was the natural order of things for millennia. Because, of course, men who do not have women in the past, what would they do? They would go out and steal them. Yeah, as simple as that. Men, human beings, right? Whenever they don't have something, they either work for it or they go and steal it from somebody who does have it. And this is not a secret. This is how we are as human beings, right? And we've created a whole moral mechanism against this. I mean, we all say, stealing is bad. It's one of the 10 Commandments and so forth, right? But what have we done for tens of thousands of years? Whenever somebody had a horse and we wanted that horse, we would either try to get it somehow, or worst case scenario, would go get a rock and kill the owner of that horse and just steal it, or at least knock the sucker out and steal his horse and ride off into the sunset with it. That's what we did. With horses, with women, with whatever, okay? And so from an evolutionary perspective, it made sense for women to simply adapt to their new situation. Adapt to their new situation so as to minimize their own pain and misery and suffering, right? Of course they did that. Of course, because they're human beings. We are masters at minimizing suffering, just like every other living creature on this earth, okay? Women will sacrifice their principles and their loyalty in order to make their lives easier or better. And especially now. And now when we live in a time where the shackles of Judeo-Christian morality have been broken utterly. And really it's just a do-it-yourself kind of morality. And you're on your own, morally speaking, right? Well, what do women wind up doing? They wind up living a life of basically, you only live once, right? YOLO. Or, just do whatever feels good, and by extension, of course, don't do those things that don't feel good, right? And that, of course, means that if you're with a man, if you're a woman and you're with a man and, it's not as much fun as it used to be, then you have permission to leave him, right? You have permission to leave him because, it doesn't feel so good anymore, right? That's what they do. But men today, when they hear that, when they see that, when they experience that, they get fucking outraged. They say that the woman's a whore, the woman's this, the woman's that, whatever, right? They get pissed. They get supremely pissed. You have no idea how many videos I've watched on YouTube and what have you, of different guys getting all pissed off about this reality that women have no principles, women have no loyalty, and that the second things don't go well, they'll walk away from the man. They'll leave him for some other better man. Yeah, they're so pissed at it, right? And I think that that's just, frankly, I think that that's foolish. Supremely foolish. And the reason I think it's foolish is obviously because this is the nature of women. It's as simple as that. It's been bred into them by evolution. Yeah. Women will not be loyal, and they will not stick to their principles. Whatever principles they might have, they just, talk, okay? More likely than not, whatever principle they have is just to get in good with the in-group so that they remain a member in good standing of the in-group. That's why they spout their rhetoric, whatsoever that rhetoric may be it liberal or conservative, right? Blue-haired feminist or trad thought. They're spouting this not because they believe in it, but because it's the mechanism by which they are integrated into the group that they want to belong to. And if that means that they have to say that they're socialists or they have to say that they're fascists, they're going to say it. They will say whatever is necessary to get in good with the in-group, because women need the in-group for protection. This is an issue of evolution.